Key, will my narcissistic partner change? I'm often asked this question, and my pushback question is, why do you want to know? My empath crew, many of us are intrigued to understand if the narcissistic partner who we love, who we adore, our parent, our boss, the unnecessarily difficult person we have to contend with, we want to know if they will change. Because ultimately, if they change, it may mean that you don't have to do the hard work on yourself by looking at your own behavior that is unhelpful, that fuels that toxic dynamic. Therefore, you don't learn how to stand up for yourself, to set boundaries, to stop accommodating their unnecessarily difficultness. If they change, you don't have to. And I believe it's one of the reasons why empathic people are so keen to understand if their narcissistic partner, mother, brother, sister, cousin, boss will change. The reality is, people change because they want to. And there's lots of evidence out there that suggests that narcissistic individuals cannot change. Now, I struggle with that because I always believe in hope and that there's great potential in all of us. But based on my own professional and clinical experience, it's something I've yet to see. So my question back to you is, if you want someone else to change, why is that beneficial to you? Why do you want them to change so much? Often empaths, is it because there's a fantasy that you have in your mind's eye of how the relationship should be? And if you are hoping and holding on to the fantasy in your mind's eye of how a relationship should be, it means you're avoiding your uncomfortable reality. Therefore, if they change, the fantasy you have in your mind will come to fruition. And for many of us out there who had the epic high, we live in hope that the epic high will return. That beginning when it was intense and great. Or we hope for those intermittent crumbs where we get validation, or when they're in a good mood and they're uplifting us. We hope those moments might be more longer rather than sporadic. The challenge you have is, as you may or may not know, narcissism is considered to be a personality disorder. And so change can be very tricky. Self-insight can be very tricky. The uncomfortable truth is, you may be better off examining your expectations, the fantasies you have in your mind, to get clear and get clarity about your situation, rather than wishing and wanting someone to be different. Remember, if they change, you don't have to do the work on yourself. And while doing the work on ourselves is never easy, it could potentially radically change your life. Because ultimately, if you're too accommodating, too understanding, highly compassionate to the point where people take the downright mickey with you, then it's not great for your greatness. And if it isn't that person using and abusing you, then potentially it's going to be somebody else. And learning how to stand up for yourself, to defend yourself, to not facilitate people when they present you with nonsense situations is good for your well-being. It's actually an important life skill. So my encouragement to you is, think about why you might be so desperate for them to change. That's the true question. As you already know, and you've been told time and time again, the only person you can ever change in life is yourself. It's better to accept your situation than to live in a fantasy of how it can be. But the biggest challenge with acceptance is it means the loss of hope. And many empaths live in a hopeless hope situation, wishing and wanting their situation to be different. And in reality, it doesn't happen. The clock ticks and time runs away. 5 years, 6 years, 7 years later, you're still in the same situation. And often, the longer it goes on, the quicker your mental health and well-being, and sometimes your bank balance, will decline. Am I lying? I hope this video is of benefit to someone out there. And if you've got a question, empaths, if you have a question you would like to ask me about narcissism, about self-care, then please inbox me or put a comment below. I'll be grateful and I'll be glad to help. It's your girl, Keeley. I'm a psychotherapist passionate about helping empathic people understand the challenges of life. Remember, do take care of you, because if you don't, the narcissist won't.